Welcome back to One-on-One with Mr. U. Of course, I'm your host, Mr. U. If you're watching us for the very first time, thanks for making us part of your week. We're live on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. Our conversation is with entrepreneurs, dreamers, visionaries who are doing great things in the world. I want to share some of their stories with you guys. And we have with us today, President and owner of D.H. Charles Engineering, Jasper Calcara is with us. Jasper, how are you today? Good to see you, brother.
I'm doing great. How are you today?
Yeah. Fantastic. Good to chat with you, man. All right. So you do a lot of things. I want to definitely get into it with the time that we have. You're a structural engineer and an entrepreneur. You've been spending 30 years basically building businesses and leading teams on a high level. What got you into the construction world, especially in today's time? What made that a thing for you?
Yeah, I mean, since I was a kid, I was always into building. My dad was a carpenter. I kind of watched him build all over San Francisco. I grew up crossing the Golden Gate Bridge. I literally dreamed of working on it one day. And years later, that dream came true. So from an early age, I always just loved building. I always told everybody I wanted to be an engineer. And so I just put my head down all through high school and college and ended up meeting that dream. I'm just in kind of an interesting area of engineering, which is construction engineering. So we don't like design the buildings, but we do everything needed to help build them or repair them. So I've been able to work on some of the most iconic structures across North America from most of my career, and it's been really rewarding, really exciting.
That sounds like it's rewarding. You just see something that you started from scratch and then built to capacity. I think that's pretty awesome, man. You don't just build businesses and lead teams. You also spend a lot of time dealing with personal growth and kind of building from within, if you will. You got a big history with carrying a lot of pressures and anxiety and dealing with self-worth / self-esteem issues, man. Can you share a little bit about your what happened with your business partner and kind of how that kind of brought you to a place where you are now?
Yeah, I think I share a journey and a story that a lot of really highly driven individuals share, whether it's through business or even, building families. So when I was young, I kind of I put on the Superman costume. I've always just said I was Superman. I always put this pressure to save the world. So I think a lot of people wear masks or armor or a costume of their own. I didn't know what it was hiding, but I was trying to project something stronger than I felt inside. So I think that's something that a lot of people can relate to. So through my life, I just was so driven to build something, to make something of myself. And I was able to build this beautiful business. I'm very proud of it. I put all my heart and my soul into it. Great team, great product, great customer relationships. But as I was building that, I was falling apart more and more in my personal life, which again is such a sad theme amongst, highly driven people. And the way I've been describing it to people recently is, in my business, if you look at a bridge, if it starts to develop cracks or deterioration and you leave them unattended for too long, it can affect the stability and safety of the whole thing. Every structure, everything that we rely on in our lives, if we don't care for it, can come down around us. And that's kind of what happened to me. So my first loss was losing, my business partner, mentor, really my best friend in a tragic car accident. That was the first earthquake that hit me. But I was strong enough to survive it. I put on my Superman costume and I was committed to save my family, my team, my customers and everything. And I weathered through that. But as the years went on and I continued to build, this beautiful business, this beautiful life, there's no scratches in my facade, right? It was to be envied. But inside I was falling apart more and more until finally I lost my marriage. And really kind of that's when everything came crumbling down. So in that moment, I decided to really heal and to rebuild in a way that I knew that I was really addressing all those cracks inside of me that I was hiding. For me, it was lack of self-worth. It was anxiety. It was shame. But so I think a lot of people out there can relate that they kind of hide those cracks inside of them. And then at some point in their life, they'll show themselves. And they did. And that's where I started to rebuild.
Yeah, that's definitely a powerful story, man. Anybody that's watching, listening, that's a hard charger and a high achiever, A-types like we are, it's so easy, man. It just kind of, move past those internal cracks, I think you call it, and kind of just keep on working, keep on building, and then look at the amount of loss that's more significant than probably the work you were doing that mattered much more to you, emotionally, spiritually, in every way. So I love hearing this story, man. You talk about this. It's probably one of the most transparent and thoughtful ways I've ever heard anybody talk about something like this before. Whenever I teach or have speaking engagements, I talk about always make reference to Surfside condominium disaster because it's something that just it ministers to me in ways that I can't really explain. These guys are in boardrooms fighting over whose job it is to fix something that you already built, that people are living in, building on top of. And of course, the inevitable happens. Something happens where the foundation finally gives way. It was bound to happen. It was inevitable. And now you have a loss of life, a loss of uh, uh, people losing their living, how they, where they, their homes and what have you. And it's all because, like you said, the internal cracks are being ignored, man. So I really respect you for not only being a high performer, but also recognizing that there's a weight that we carry. What would you say is the biggest revelation for you, Jasper, in regards to that, being a high achiever, being that hard charger, and recognizing that this weight is something that I got to take note of and manage this wisely? What was the biggest revelation for you or epiphany that you had in regards to this?
Yeah, so for me, unfortunately, it was that loss, and the reason I'm out here trying to help spread the message and my philosophy to build a stronger, more stable, and more fulfilling life is to help people avoid that loss. I don't want to see people around me or people in this world lose the things that they're most important to them, to learn that lesson. So in that moment, I had lost, everything I had worked for. And now I have to say, okay, well, what do I do to salvage this? What do I do to build something that my kids are going to be proud of, that my team will be proud of? And it was the first time ever I took off my armor, right? I showed those scars. I had shown nothing but perfection, and perfection is not something to be, that we should be striving for. Perfection is dangerous. Perfection is damaging, right? I became a much better parent, a much better leader by showing my weaknesses, my vulnerabilities, and my willingness to heal them over a time, which takes a lot of hard work and dedication. So, I mean, that was the epiphany. That was the moment for me. And that was literally the proudest moment of my life, because so many people, especially highly driven men who have their businesses, they'll just pour more into their business, right? And they'll just destroy their exes, and their kids get lost in the middle, and they come out this shell of a person on the other side. Women can go through the same journey in divorce. So for me, I just was not willing to cause any more pain. I was going to do the work I needed to do to protect those that I cared about. And it was a challenge, but it was the most fulfilling thing I've done to date. And I'm proud of myself.
Yeah. Every time that's an incredible aspect there, man. Every time I check in with you and I look at what you're doing, I just see emphasis on something that just is really near and dear to my wife and I's heart. It's paying attention to the foundation, paying attention to the weightier matters in life, the things that matter. And we're a little bit older now, and we are seeing that even more so now than ever. And so I'm like, wow, I'm so glad that we're still here to make the adjustments and the corrections. So many folks blow through their 30s and 40s and even into their 50s, and they don't take care of that, man. In your industry, in your profession, man, is team building different in your profession than it is in other places where you've seen or had access to? Is it different for you in what you do?
I don't think so. I think team building is a universal thing. So the philosophy that I've kind of realized that I had been relying on my entire business career, I simplified it by calling it be good, do good, and evolve. I was doing it every day for decades. And being good was about, holding myself accountable, doing, having the right strengths to do what I need to do, getting the help that I needed to get. And then doing good was making sure to do everything I can to put my team first, my customers first, really value their role and what they hope to get out of their careers. And then evolving means you're just constantly changing and testing new ways to be better. So it was creating new technologies, new approaches, new solutions. So by doing all of those things, we created such an incredible culture that we've been able to maintain. So the team building was about having something we were proud of doing together, knowing that everybody was valued and respected, and then knowing that we were going out in the world and doing something that we truly cared about. So if we kept kind of focusing in on those three core pillars year after year after year, it's been such an incredible culture. So I think that that's what I tried to simplify as a foundation. And then I applied that all to my personal life when I recovered from the losses I mentioned: be good, do good, evolve. And it was the exact same blueprint. It worked like, it was an incredible roadmap to build something in my personal life that matched the level of quality, success, and sustainability that I did in business. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is incredible. And the more that I broke it down, the more that I've dissected it, the more that I've come to realize there's such power in it. And that's why I'm really here, is to share that power.
I love that. I love that. One of the things that I thought was so awesome too was how you highlighted the importance of the role of women in the construction business. Honestly, I'm from New York City, so I've seen construction literally the majority of my life. When I moved to the South, I still continue to see it. It's still going on.
Mm-hmm.
This is how I moved down here. But I've never heard anybody emphasize it or talk about that. Why is that important to you personally and part of your bigger picture as an organization to have women in construction?
Well, I just think it's so important that, we have women in all aspects of society, in all industries. But, construction is no different, and engineering is no different. You need the different points of views. You need diversity, not just in, men and women, but in backgrounds and cultures and everything. So we've always really celebrated individuality at my company and really try to learn from each other and where we come from culturally and whatnot, because it just brings new perspective. So because when we're just stuck in our ways and we're just stuck in our thinking, and we don't evolve, and evolve is a key pillar to progress and to growth and to become something better than you are. So if it's just a bunch of white men in a room, which engineering was very male dominated, then you're going to miss out on a ton of opportunities to be spectacular. So it's close to my heart, just because I have a daughter. I'm so proud of her. She's literally graduated from high school a couple of days ago. She's going off to university. Man. Thank you. And she decided to study civil engineering, so she might go down this path. But I just love inspiring young women in a field that maybe they didn't get that support in high school or college that I wish they would have, that you can do anything, right? And I just want to change that narrative for young women in STEM. And I think we're doing a great job of it. But that's why it's important to me.
I love it, man. And what university was she going to again?
She's going to Penn State. So we're here in California, and both my older kids have decided to go east, get a little bit of weather, get a little bit of a new experience. So I'm super proud of them to experience new cities and get a taste of something other than Southern California.
That's amazing. Hopefully we got time for a few more questions. We're trying to make it work. What's the first emotion you feel, Jasper, when you hear hurricane near something that you've built?
I mean, I have confidence. I mean, my business has always been about confidence, and confidence is because you're not compensating for things that are weak. And I think this is a really cool concept. I tell this to my team. I'm like, the reason we can go out there in the world and be so spectacular as a business because we're not hiding anything. We're not compensating for weakness. We've looked at everything about us and tried to be as best as we can be and put the right pieces in place. So when I design something, and I have designed systems that have been exposed to hurricanes. I remember one of my earliest designs, this really complicated system that was wrapping this giant bridge in Florida. It got exposed to hurricane speed winds, and it weathered the storm perfectly. So it's, of course, you never can guarantee everything's going to perform flawlessly, but confidence comes with trust. And I've built trust in myself and my team and my customers that we will put something out there that will perform more well and will be safe. So I think trust is the foundation of almost anything we do and put out in the world.
I love it. One final question, then I'll have you speak to the people and let folks know where they can find you, your work, and the framework that you developed. Now, you're here, Jasper, because you know how to help people move forward. And this conversation is supposed to be about giving our audience practical pathways to advancement, clear steps, shifts, actionable strategies that they can apply right away. So what would you say is one decision or one action that somebody listening today can take to build a structurally sound life? What would you offer?
Well, I'm going to focus on the one that's a little bit, this might be the toughest for many people. When they're feeling stuck, most people push harder against the challenge, right? We just want to hammer through that wall that's blocking us. And what I've realized definitely through the last few years is the most important thing we can do is take space. Take space from what's challenging you. Space is uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable to put that phone down. It's uncomfortable to not bury yourself in your work. Take that space, because space is where enlightenment comes. That's where direction comes. And the second piece is discomfort. Go do something new and challenging. I don't care what it is. I spent an entire year of coming up with anything and everything I could do to get uncomfortable, and it changed my life. So you don't have to go that extreme, but I really challenge people to take space, get uncomfortable, go challenge themselves to do something new, and I promise that will move you forward.
Let us know where they can find you, sir, and find your work.
Yeah. Feel free to love to see and interact with anybody. I'm on Instagram, Jasper Calcara Official. My website's at jaspercalcara.com. I'm working on a book and other resources to really get this philosophy and process out there. I'm all about action. I'm all about positivity and really just taking on really tough challenges. And so anything I can do to help. Anybody has any questions, reach out. But I'm loving this journey, and I'm appreciating all the great feedback and support by really passionate people like you. I really appreciate it.
No, same here, man. Same here. Jasper Calcara, president and owner of DH Charles Engineering Incorporated. He built a framework: be good, do good, evolve. You can find him at Jasper Calcara Official on Instagram. Thanks for making us part of your day, man, and being part of this conversation, man. Appreciate you so much.
I loved it, and I appreciate you.
Same here, sir. If you're watching, listen for the very first time, again, thanks for making us part of your week. You can find us across social media platforms and all podcast listening platforms. We are there. Thanks for tuning in to One-on-One with Mr. U. That's Jasper Calcara. I'm Mr. U. Have a great day. Thanks again for being a part of the conversation.